human perspective.
Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you so much for joining. This episode is about how I believe the Mandela Effect not only is a wake up call, but it's a gift because many of us need it nudged. Now, I know a lot of us get impatient, Seems to be two groups. There's one group that's sort of apprehensive about what the future holds. They're nervous, fearful, just because things do seem uncertain at times. But then there's another group that seems to know everything's going to be all right, but let's get on with it already. And we can get impatient sometimes, not realizing that we are progressing. We have made some huge leaps in understanding. And one of the things that brought this to my attention is I had told you guys about Dutch Sense, which is linked below. For he forecasts earthquakes, and if you live in a seismic zone, it's definitely someone's channel you need to check out because I thought back to a year ago. This was September of last year. We were living out of a motel, and I woke up in the morning to an empty soda can vibrating, falling over, and rolling off the table. And I thought someone had ran into the side of the motel building or something, or something. I didn't know. It was just so freaky, And then my wife and I both hopped out of bed, and I went out. We were on the second floor, so I went out on the balcony, and put my hands on the railing, looking around, and realized that everything was still shaking. It was an earthquake, and here this was, in Oklahoma, beginning of September last year. And so I got to thinking, I'm going to go back on that Dutch Sense website and see if he actually forecasted that earthquake because I was so nervous, I didn't know what was going to happen if another one was coming, and it seemed like it went on forever. And so I went back on his website and or on his YouTube page, and sure enough, he had forecasted it. If I had been tuned into him way back then, I would have just been in awe at the way he forecasted it, and I wouldn't have been in fear because he was within a magnitude of the actual earthquake that hit. Unbelievable. I had no idea earthquakes could be forecasted, but that got me to thinking. I was like, wow, that was just a year ago, huh? That I was living in a condition where something like that rocked my world, and I thought, is this the end of the world? Am I going to die? How bad is this going to get? Is the building going to collapse? And if I had just been tuned into him back then, I would have known what to expect, and it wouldn't have been so alarming. So, awareness, knowledge is can be power. We've heard that so many times, and you can relax when you have an idea of what's coming, and you're not sort of caught off guard. So, definitely check out Dutch Sense YouTube page. He has nightly broadcasts where he shows how the earthquakes hit and the next ones to expect, and he's got it down to a science. It really does work. But I really, and for anybody who sort of doesn't believe my statement that the Mandela Effect is a miraculous gift, I recommend you go back to my very first videos before I knew the Mandela Effect was indeed really happening. And you don't even have to watch the whole thing. Just look at me back then, and then a few videos later when I realized it was real, you can sort of see me freaking out about it, and you can see how much I've changed just since this channel was started back in March. 6 months. I've grown so much, and that was actually 6 months after that earthquake that hit. So, the reason I think it's a miraculous gift is because many times we look back on the road of life, and you turn around, you look at the road that you've just traveled, and you see sort of these, maybe you see some of the accomplishments along the way, but you sort of mainly see the flaming piles of destruction that you went through, the bad things. You turn around, and that's what stands out. You got the smoke rising, and not realizing that when you look beyond to the horizon, how much you've actually traveled, how much you've actually learned, and how much experience you've gained along this road. So let that be an encouragement for those that, like me, can get a little bit impatient and realize that, of course, September 23rd has come and gone. The alignment happened, and it seems like nothing's happened. But in actuality, a lot has happened. Just think, just personally, how much you've grown. And, I don't live in fear anymore, so I can say at least that much. A lot of times we need a swift kick in the butt to get us going again, and the Mandela effect was that for me. And, I'm not going to say I wasn't frightened at first. I wasn't sort of trepidatious about everything that was occurring with the Mandela effect. It sort of freaked out when I thought maybe it was CERN and all these other theories going around. And now I realize, it's exactly what I needed to sort of kick start me back onto my journey of life. And this is a journey. And a lot of times we can get so focused on, getting there that we don't realize that the journey is actually the main part. I mean, here we are experiencing, learning, growing. Of course, we want to get there. Of course, we want to ascend or progress into a new stage of life. But this is an important part, and it's sort of our duty to learn and grow, and then spread the love and the knowledge to others, to help them along the way. Those that are behind us on our road. And it wasn't until this whole Mandela effect thing happened that I could even see people further down the road that I'm on. And before that, it seemed like, there was no one ahead of me. I was just sort of off on this road by myself, traveling who knows where. But this whole wake up has been a realization that many people are on this road. And though they might vary a little bit, our roads are really similar. And I can see people ahead of me now, and I've learned to recognize that those people are on the same road I'm on, but sort of a little bit ahead of where I'm at. And those people become, role models and mentors and people that you can go to for information and help us progress along the way. And if you come across somebody that's too far ahead of the road you're on, you won't even realize they're on the road you're on. You'll just sort of think they're crazy or a lunatic or something. So that's sort of how this whole thing works, from my understanding. But the Mandela effect definitely was a kickstart that I personally needed, and it certainly has helped me begin to grow and make progress along the road of life, if you will. So, with all that said, I know, like I said, September 23rd is come and gone, and, some people that were sort of in fear about what might happen might sort of become relaxed and say, well, there's nothing to worry about, nothing's really changing, and it was just another false prediction. But for me, I never really thought the world was going to end on September 23rd. I just, it was just sort of part of all the information I was gathering at the time, that things are changing, things are shifting, and the Mandela effect is a good indication of that for those who see it. And also, we're seeing things we haven't seen before. Now, I put together a video. All the clips I used, the original videos, are linked in the description if you want to go watch the whole thing. But I came across some stuff that I certainly have never seen before, and I thought it's to show those who are sort of getting impatient, to show you that things might not be moving as fast as we'd like them to move, but they are changing. Things that we've never seen before are indeed happening. So here's one instance where I was sort of blown away, because I'm looking at this, and like I said, I've never seen this before. You can see here in Tanzania, there's this river here, and the whole land mass is moving, closing off the river, and people are just standing here watching it happen. And what in the world? I've certainly never seen something like this before. Look at it, it's just riding up on the other land. It's not an earthquake. Watch, you can even see it push this palm tree over here. People are just watching it like, what the heck? You can see the palm tree start to bend over. Have you guys ever seen anything like that? That is extremely bizarre. Here again, this was in Tibet, China, September 12th, not even a month ago. Here is this, what appears to be a river of moving land. I've seen stuff like this with ice, but never land. And you can see the grass is still green. Look at all the animals ran up on the hill. Like, what the heck? And then we have the water.
So that's enough energy that it pulled the ocean out from the land.
And it was like that for almost half a day.
Dogs playing where it's normally feet deep.
This is normally entirely underwater.
This video from the Bahamas went viral, showing a normally sapphire sea gone, as far as the eye can see.
This has been a once-in-a-lifetime tidal event.
The force of the approaching hurricane is so strong that despite all this ocean spray, it's actually sucked a lot of the...
Now, they're blaming the hurricane on this, but if that's not a crock, I don't know what is, because it's happening in many places where there's not even a hurricane going on. So the hurricane sucked the water out of the bay, the hurricane blew the water off the shore. There's no way. I mean, that's just not even plausible. And it just another one of those times in life you realize that these people are just guessing about things, you know? You know, others say it's the gravitational pull of another planet, which it could be, but, you know, it could just be the whole land is slightly raising up too. I mean, I don't think anybody really knows what's going on. It's speculation. But what I do know is it's something new. It doesn't happen. This isn't something that you normally see, but here we go. Here's September 10th in Florida. You know, all the ocean's just gone. Pushed back. And in the reports I heard, it was just for a time. It wasn't like, you know, it went away for good. It just sort of receded for a while. I think in the one report we saw first, it was for a few hours and then it came back. September 13th in Rio de Janeiro. Definitely seeing things we haven't seen before. Let's look at this comparison. Well, here we see, and there's a lot of photos. You guys can get online and look this stuff up, but here's the French coast. You know, just to say that hurricanes are sucking the water away, that's just bizarre that anybody could even say that with a straight face. Look at these, the side-by-side comparison here. So what's happening to all the water? Why is it receding like that? It's like a backward tsunami. Now this is we look at this, now this is a prestigious university, Stanford University, right? This guy says, we have extensive scientific evidence that extreme events are increasing around the world and will continue to increase. Now, I don't know what scientific evidence he's referring to other than the observations I've just been pointing out, but things are happening. I mean, things we've never seen before are happening, and even things we have seen before are happening on a much grander scale than we've seen in recorded history. Extreme lightning, other conditions. I mean, the wildfires.
As I speak here, there are 1.5 million acres ablaze across Oregon, Washington, California, Idaho, Montana, Colorado, Wyoming, Nevada, and Utah. This year is virtually guaranteed to be the worst fire season in history.
In Montana, multiple wildfires
A different natural disaster that's ravaging the great state of Montana. In every corner of our state, Montana has felt the impacts of wildfires.
Los Angeles is dealing with the biggest wildfire in the city's history.
Hundreds of residents are being forced to evacuate their homes.
California's governor has declared a state of emergency with several other large wildfires burning on the state's west coast.
The western U.S. is being hit by another type of natural disaster, wildfire.
The sheer numbers are staggering. 100 fires in total, around 80 of them considered large.
In 9 western states. Did you get that? 75 fires.
Really hard to find the words to describe this. We're talking about this luscious, pristine green gorge now turning orange and red, billowing black smoke.
Our first glimpse of the blackened, still smoky crust the fire left on some land here in southern Alberta. The fire started with a lightning strike 2 weeks ago and has since exploded inside.
The yellow otherworldly haze is because of several large wildfires that are burning in southern Canada and the northern Rockies.
The skies glow orange at night as the flames burn on. Families wake up to ash on their windshields.
Like a sunset almost, evening light in the middle of the day. It was pretty strange.
It was kind of a unique surprise when we woke up today and the sky had this amber glow. Just made everything look a little bit surreal.
People in Oregon and Washington are reporting ash fall from the forest fires on a scale comparable to that what happened when Mount St. Helens erupted.
And this is happening all over the world. Let's look at here's Australia.
As we go to air tonight, there are more than 120 fires burning, including one on the south coast at emergency level.
Temperature has dramatically plunged, but tonight fires are still burning. And now there's a new problem. Wild westerlies have grounded up to 100 flights at Sydney.
And from one weather extreme to another, in California, residents there are feeling the heat. This week alone, thousands of lightning bolts lit up the sky in the southern part of the state, sparking more fires.
More than 40,000 lightning bolts have flashed across the Southern California sky this week, all within a 24-hour period. The Golden State has been in the middle of a record-breaking heat wave, leaving climate scientists scratching their heads.
I've never seen it rain this hard at the beach. It's pouring.
And it's about to get way worse.
Oh, it's sheet. Oh, wow. Oh, look at that. Oh, my God.
After one of the heaviest downpours in U.S. history, the storm is generating an amount of rain that would normally be seen only once in more than 1,000 years.
Harvey hit Texas with Old Testament wrath. A deluge along the state's Gulf Coast.
Drought.
A serious drought has swept southern Europe this summer. Some farmers in Italy and Spain are predicting the worst crop yields in 20 years.
In the Vatican, for the first time ever, they've already shut down the fountains in solidarity.
Including those in St. Peter's Square because of Italy's drought.
Flash flooding has swamped the Italian city of Livorno, killing at least 6 people after 400 millimeters of rain fell in just 4 hours.
It's burning up right now.
A ball of light shooting across the sky.
That bright light splashing across the sky in British Columbia rattled those who saw it.
But there are also reported sightings from Saskatchewan, as well as Washington, Idaho, and even as far as Montana.
Now, this is really amazing because these can also spark fires, but these can be caused from a reduced gravitational field around the Earth. And while it seems like this is all due to Earth, it is actually happening solar system wide.
Largest flare in over a decade, and its effects are now being felt here on Earth.
In recent weeks, we have seen the devastating effects of extreme weather on Earth. And these abnormal solar flares reveal that extreme weather is also happening in space. The sun has produced 6 sizable flares in the same region since Monday. Both flares were massive, but the second is the largest on record since 2000. The sun is currently heading toward a low activity period in its natural 11-year cycle.
One country, Bangladesh. A third of Bangladesh is underwater.
The monsoon rains are becoming more intense, stronger and more devastating year upon year.
And there we have it. I was sort of blown away because, you know, we heard about Harvey, we heard about, Irma and Maria and all these hurricanes that's hitting us, and you don't hear anything about the monsoons and things going on all around the world, having meteors, and for those who don't even follow the activity of the sun, this is supposed to be a solar minimum right now. We're not even supposed to be seeing much activity from the sun right now. And for those who've observed Venus, it's like so much brighter than it used to be. And I believe that all of this is showing us that things are occurring, and having an awareness that these things are indeed happening can hopefully help you not live in fear about it, because all of this is pointing to the fact that the world is changing. The world, the earth itself, is basically alive and is going through this transformation that we're all going through. We're changing together, and that gets into the whole Schumann resonance and all of this stuff. So just awareness can help relieve any apprehension you might have towards the future and what's happening. Just be aware. If you live in a seismic zone, or close to a coast somewhere, be aware of what's happening. And that way you're not caught off guard, because that's sort of what brings up the fear, is not knowing what's going to happen. But if you can keep an eye on things, know that these things are going to continue to happen. And they were even talking about hurricanes needing to get the scale of hurricanes needing to be increased, because of hurricanes are going to continue to get faster and faster and more numerous. And as this all throws off the whole, Earth isn't ending. Earth is simply going through this transitional phase, and it's happened before, and it's just important that we keep in mind that these things have to happen, and not to worry about it, not to even really focus on it. Just be aware of what's happening around you, but these are certainly nothing to sit and worry about. There's going to be wars and rumors of war, and all of this quote-unquote crazy weather, but just know that this is all part of the process, and to be patient, to stay on your journey, and to help others along theirs, and just continue to love, because we're moving into, it's not the end of the world, but it's the end of a lot of the systems that are now prevalent in the world. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys, and I do appreciate you watching. I'll see you on the next episode. Have a good one.